SIFU has been one of the most rage-inducing, painstakingly difficult games that I have ever played, and I think it deserves Game of the Year. I know, bold claim, we're only in February, Elden Ring isn't even out, and Forbidden West just barely released. Videos on that coming soon, be sure to like and subscribe. But what SIFU has done is incredible, and the fact it came from an indie company is even more incredible. Their blending of story, graphics, and gameplay is masterfully done, even though I wanted to break my keyboard in half here and there. At first glance, you'd probably classify this game as low poly. It's not truly low poly, it just sort of gives that vibe. But what this art style does is allows them to center in realism but then dip into some fantasy without breaking your immersion. So when a room grows into a forest, or a dojo becomes lit up in fire, you don't bat an eye. Instead, you stop in pure awe and just look. And these moments aren't just eye candy. They're not beautiful for the sake of being beautiful. They expand the story itself. So when you're running through this club that turns into a dojo that's all set on fire, and then you're fighting a man with this flaming staff, it actually fits with the story. That man has a name, it's Sean. There's a reason he looks like this. It's part of his backstory, and it's available for you to find out if you decide to pursue it. Albeit you don't get every nitty-gritty detail about these characters, but there is enough to give you a sense of why this is going on and why it's being portrayed like this. Each stage or level is like this, themed to fit the boss that resides there. The color palettes and assets all specifically placed there to tell a story. Why they are there and what they mean to you is all up to you to discover. All of these stories piggyback on your own. Your master and father was killed by these people, and you want revenge. We don't know why he was slain or have any real context. We just want vengeance. On your journey, you come to learn who these people really are, be it through the collectibles you find, visual clues, or hidden items that only unlock after completing later levels. You learn that those you seek vengeance against are just human. They have their own story and reasons behind what they did. But one way or another, their fates end up in your hands.
I do not want to fight you. That feeling of vengeance, it will not cease here. I speak from experience.
Is vengeance really the right choice, or should they be spared? Now, the act of actually sparing them will be one of the hardest things you've ever done. Not only do you have to come to grips with the idea of sparing the life of someone who killed you and everyone in your dojo, you have to have the skill and patience to actually pull it off. SIFU has gone the extra mile by making the mechanics to actually spare the boss extremely difficult. In the game, everyone has a health bar and a structure bar, or a stagger bar. If you break someone's structure, you can do a finishing move. If you deplete their health, they're dead. To deplete someone's health, you just have to hit them. To deplete someone's structure is a little bit different. The primary way to deal structure damage is to not attack at all. Perfectly timed blocks or parries build not only yours, but your opponent's structure bar. Now, other moves will increase the opponent's structure, but you also run the risk of doing too much damage and killing them. So instead of fighting, you have to take a more pacifist approach and wear your opponent down. But not just once, you need to do it twice. Then and only then do you have the opportunity to spare the boss. And if you're able to accomplish this across all the bosses, you'll unlock the secret ending. SIFU is a difficult game and you will die often. Likely people are going to compare this to Dark Souls, but this is on a whole nother level. Don't get me wrong, Dark Souls and all the From Software games are unforgiving, but the underlying system of those games do give you a way out. Be it from farming experience to boost your stats, finding better gear, upgrading your current gear, or even new game-changing abilities, with enough time grinding, you'll be able to overcome it. SIFU doesn't have this. There are upgrades that can be unlocked permanently, but they aren't useful unless you use them correctly. For example, one ability you can unlock is to catch a thrown weapon. Though great, enemies aren't often throwing weapons, and you also have to have the awareness to see that someone has the weapon and is about to throw it, and then time it to be able to catch it, while fighting 10 other people. Even the ones that are arguably good, the weapon ones, aren't great if you lose the weapon. An enemy then picks it up and your fight just got harder. Even more, when you get to a boss, you may have a weapon for a little bit, but it's gonna break and you're gonna be left there with your fists fighting that boss. There are shrine upgrades or passive abilities that you can unlock. They do have a greater impact on the game, but to maximize the amount of these you get, you can't take any shortcuts. But the real difficulty in SIFU is the age system. You must complete your quest for vengeance in one lifetime. Each time you die, you age based on the number of deaths you've previously had. So if you're 23 and you have 3 deaths, when you die, you will age to 26. You do have the opportunity at shrines to buy your death count back down to 0, and some enemies upon defeat will decrease your death count by 1. Although it seems a little confusing, you can think of it like this. At a minimum, you have 10 retries to beat all the bosses across all the stages. There is the possibility of gaining more retries based on how you play, but that isn't guaranteed. Additionally, the older you get, the less health you have, but the more damage you deal. You do get to save your progress after completing a stage, but if you find yourself too old and without enough continues, you'll end up replaying the previous stages until you get a younger age. Ultimately, SIFU demands from you something that other games don't: perfection. The story of vengeance or forgiveness can only be unlocked if you put the time in to earn it. If you don't have the opportunity to play this game or don't feel like it's the type of game for you, I would still encourage you to go find a playthrough on YouTube and watch it. If you think the game is too hard, don't worry. Developers have said an easy mode and a harder mode are on the way, making this incredible story, these beautiful graphics, and this fun gameplay far more accessible. SIFU is absolutely a must-play. My name's been Stryftek and thank you for watching. This review has been very different compared to the previous ones, and I would love to know your thoughts. So please leave me a comment below and tell me if you prefer this format or what I was doing previously. And again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.